Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. It's Sunday. It's the breakdown. Welcome, my friends. Hope you're all good. A seesaw game, an up and down game yesterday. Some positives, some negatives, but there's certainly lots to dig into and have a little chat about. As always, drop your opinions in the old chat. Say hello, all that good stuff, and ask your questions, etc., etc. Please do share it. Make sure you drop a like on the video and make sure you're subscribed. As couldn't believe the other day, I found out there's only like 40% of the people who watched aren't subscribed. So please do subscribe. Helps us out a lot with the algorithms and all that sort of stuff. But like, where do you stand with yesterday? Like, social media, man, is like depressing, isn't it? You see so much negativity. Everything's someone's fault. Everything's negative. So, like, let's start with the positive. I thought the first half we were very good. And what I liked was the intensity and the energy that we started the game with, which is something that I feel we lack. Quite often at the start of games, it takes us a while to get in and we let teams settle. And I thought we really got at Plymouth quite early. So that was obviously a high positive. I thought the selection, the starting lineup was good selection. That was not far off what I was saying in the preview. I kind of hinted that if he went to a 3, I was quite happy with that. But, and you know, like, defensively and collectively, they defended so well in the first half. Plymouth didn't really get much chances. We looked good, and we just, after the sending off changes the game. Look, the simple. I'm impressed that, you know, Aaron Ramsey played 100 minutes, and one of the things that gets leveled at Aaron Ramsey in recent years is that he hasn't got the legs anymore to play in the 2 in the middle of midfield, and he has to play in the 10. And I really thought that he showed yesterday that he does have the legs to play in the midfield, and I thought he was really good. It's just unfortunate, like the red card changes. It's never a red card. I'm not even sure it's a foul, having watched it back a few times now, different angles and all the rest of it. Like, I'm just not even convinced it's a foul. The ball breaks through and they kind of just bump into each other where they're chasing the ball. Striker goes down, of course, makes a meal of it. He could have just given a free kick, really. But like, he is the last man, but it's frustrating. Like, Ramsey's superb. I just don't think we should risk him Tuesday now. Like, it's such a quick turnaround, and he played 100 minutes, run himself into the ground. So maybe Rawls comes in. I don't know how far Robertson is. Man's work has been, it just gets better. Bagan, I thought, was excellent again. That's such a big blow to lose him, because, as I've said before, having that left-footed centre-back, particularly someone who's so good on the ball, really opens up the pitch for us on that side. And when you've got O'Dowda at left-back, who's obviously very attacking, having that left-sided defender really helps. I thought Perry NG was much better. I quite like him in a 3. Made a couple of important interceptions and tackles. Does get caught a little bit sometimes positionally, but actually I thought in the 3 he was pretty good. He made 11 clearances, 4 tackles, interceptions. You know, won 6 of his 8 ground duels. Can't really ask for much more than that. I thought it was a much better performance from him. He didn't have those brain fades that cost us big chances, which is obviously important. He's the thing with Perry and G, and the reason I found him frustrating this year is because I rate him so highly. Like, at his best, he is one of the best right backs in the Championship. We just haven't seen it. And maybe, I don't know, what's his age now? I think he's like late 20s, maybe. Maybe a switch to centre-back is where we'll see him go as his career goes on. I don't know. But he certainly looked more comfortable in a 3. Gutas, like, for me, like in a 3, I want NG and Bagan to be covering Gutas all the time, and we kind of got caught a bit high for the goal, for the sending off, sorry, and then Gutas was getting back and he didn't have the pace, and they clearly, it's still not a red card, and there's a foul on Bagan, which takes Bagan out of the game, which is also an issue. I also thought, and look, Yusuf Salic, sticking with the positives, like, just a goal scorer, a poacher. I just love it. Absolutely love it. He, I said it in the kind of report we did on him before he signed, put it in a box and he will score goals. Does all his best work in between the posts. And again, showed that. Sharp, always on his toes, waiting for that ball to drop, rebounds, whatever it may be. He's ready. Alves, impressive again. Like, for a young lad who's never played or never been on loan before, he's just settled in like he's been here all his life. Absolutely superb. And this, like, just it's such a frustrating game because you feel like if we'd stayed with 11, we'd go on and win that. But it reminded me of the Coventry game in a lot of ways. First half, good. Create chances. Don't take them. Only got the one goal. Get a sending off right after half time. Concede the equaliser quite quickly after that. And then you're hanging on. But what you can say is, in a relegation battle, you need players to dig in. You need the team to dig in together. And not only did we go down to 10 men, we lost Joel Bagan, who's our informed centre-back. Perry NG gets a knock. It's like you're down to your last legs in terms of injuries and centre defensive injuries particularly. Bagan goes off for Fish. Fish, again, like, I know it's almost becoming like a running joke, but I do think he has not let us down when he's come in. 4 out of 5 aerial duels, he just felt like he just won everything in the air. Can switch off a little bit sometimes, but I thought he was a big part of the defense holding out and defending well. It'll be interesting where we go and what we do on the weekend, because we've got Bagan, I think, is probably out. Gutas is banned, although if I was the club, I would appeal it, because even if you don't win the appeal, he can play Tuesday. He's not going to play Wednesday. He's not going to play Friday anyway. I wouldn't have thought. And then Darlan's back, so that for me makes the most sense in terms of how to go about it. Like Dylan Lawler's carried a knock anyway, so you wouldn't be able to put him in, and it would be it's a big ask, isn't it, to see him, to come in and make your debut in such a big game against Hull on Tuesday. So I think we'll end up with Gutas and Fish, would be my prediction. My thing, and I've seen a few people saying, maybe Callum Chambers is back. With the greatest of respect, Callum Chambers has been a revelation in midfield, but he was struggling a little bit in defence. Now, whether that's the speed and the physicality of the Championship, maybe he's just more suited to the midfield, but he did seem to struggle. However, we do have different players in there now and in and around the midfield area. So it's one of them, isn't it, whereby we could set up. I still say there's no doubting that our defensive lapses have cost us points this season. If you look at it just since October time, when Rhys took over, we have suffered with these defensive, switching off. It's cost us points, not just goals. It's cost us points because of the late goals. So we're clearly not a team that can sit in. And I think the manager wants to play with pace, and I think he wants to be attacking. And I feel like now he's probably got the players to do that. So you've got like Isaac Davis came back. That's another massive positive. Looking sharp, way sharper than I expected. You've got him. You've got Ashford, who's been on form. You've got Colwell, who's looking more like himself. You've got El Ghazi. You've got Willock. Alves is on fire. So you've got those options. It's just finding the right combinations to get the best out of the team collectively. I stand by. I would like to see that Manswerk, Robertson, Colwell midfield if Ramsey's going to have a rest. I guess it'll depend if we want Ramsey for Friday against Villa, would be my guess. You've also got Joe Rolls to come in there, so you don't need to maybe rush Alex Robertson back. But like Alex Robertson's such a big player for us already. His quality is superb, and I want to see him and Ruben playing more together. I quite like the thought of them two and Manswerk. I think that could work quite well. They complement each other. But it'd be interesting because Alnwick, I think, he looked like he was on one leg, so he looked like he's struggling. So Halverth probably comes in for Tuesday. Gutas, if we appeal it, he's there. Do we stick with the 3? Go Gutas, NG, Fish? Do you go to 4? And then it's right, who's your fullbacks? Well, Perry NG's just put in a good performance. So does he deserve to come back in? But you can't drop Rina Mota because he's been arguably your most consistent player. Could you put Perry NG out to left back and then Rina Mota on the right? I think he struggled at left back a little bit. It's a difficult one. If you assume Ramsey's going to drop out, you could put Rina Mota in there. You could put Rawls in there. Do you move Ramsey up to the 10 and drop Ruben to the bench? Alex says Reno hasn't been as good the last few games. Yeah, the problem is he's played so much minutes. You wouldn't begrudge him a rest. Up until yesterday, I was 100% certain I would have put Rina Mota at right back ahead of NG because I think NG has been quite poor at right back, but he did look more like himself at the weekend. So do you get him in there, give Rina Mota a break? I just think Rina Mota's played a lot of football. I disagree that he was not pretty good. I don't think anyone was terrible yesterday. I think it was a byproduct of the circumstances. The red card changes it. The red card changes that game because I really believe we'd have comfortably won it. I thought Plymouth were pretty poor, actually. Like you can see that Bundy up front has been brought in to score those goals. I said in my preview that I felt that their back 3 had a mistake in them in terms of giving the ball away. And I believe that I was proven right with that. Like we pinched the ball off them a lot. And there's another possibility that NG is not fit anyway for Tuesday because he had a knock. So the defence is kind of going to probably be made up of whoever's available. I expect us to appeal the Gutas thing so he's available. Bagan looked like he'd done a hammy, so I cannot imagine that he's fit. So Gutas, Fish, NG, O'Dowda. The midfield's an interesting one because Joe Rawls was playing quite well before he had an injury. Yeah, Gutas would be, if we appeal it, Gutas is available, but they could up it to 2 games if not. But I would have thought Gutas wouldn't be playing on Friday anyway. So it's crazy. I think Plymouth might have had an off day as well, but they were were poor. Like Katic is a good defender, but they got mistakes in him, and I thought we just didn't take our chances again, and it's so frustrating because we did create chances, we just didn't take them. And I think that's frustrating, because if we could have got a second in that first half, you've really got something to hold on to then. I thought Alves was really good again. He keeps hold of the ball well. For someone who's quite direct in dribbles, he does keep hold of the ball. Obviously gets the assist. And I mean, something that we've talked about recently is that Ruben's ability to pinch the ball in the pressing situations and in the physical situations. He wins the ball back. Alves puts it across. Salic finishes it. You know, Alves had 2 key passes during the game. It was 77% accurate passes, which is insane when you think how much dribbling he does. What else was it? We had also 3 out of 6 dribble attempts for Will Alves. I just think Will Alves is a breath of fresh air and exactly what we need. He went 5 out of 8 ground duels, by the way, Will Alves. I thought him and Colwell did a really good job in that sort of dual 10 role. I know some people don't like it, but it was needs must. We matched him up system-wise. And because of Alves' pace and Ruben's guile and Salic's willingness to run the channels and get in behind and press and do the rest of it, we did get down the side of them quite a lot in the first half, and we had those chances. Just that bit of composure, and I think that's the one thing which Callum Robinson does bring, is in those one-on-ones with the keepers, or one-on-ones, those sort of half chances maybe in and around the box. He does hit the target more often than not. I thought the Will Alves chance in the first half was a good chance, because it just sat up so inviting for the volley, but like you feel like if he had just headed it and brought it down, he was in. His pace, he was left that Plymouth defence behind. Dylan Lawler's injured anyway, so he won't be coming in on Tuesday. I know Omar Rhys has said in a press conference fairly recently that Dylan Lawler, look, he's very highly rated. He's captain of the under-21s at the age of 18. That's clearly an indication of how highly he's rated. It would be such a... Like last night, in the chat on the boys' show, I was saying play Giles left back, play Lawler, and just be attacking. This is the reason I do the Sunday show and take a bit of emotion out of it. Bagan is probably is out. Lawler, I think, if you had to bring him in, he's not the end of the world. I think long term he's going to be our centre back, but it's a massive, massive, massive game to bring him in for his debut. Fish has not really let us down. Gooseass will be available if we appeal it. So that's your centre-back pairing, I'd imagine. And then you've got O'Dowda and NG. If NG's fit, if NG's not fit, you can obviously go Rena Mota. But I could see why people think maybe he needs a bit of a rest. We've got 3 games in six games. We've got to use the squad. And I think this is where Omar Rhys has got a really difficult job, because I think the players who've played the last couple of games, Ramsey, Mansverk, Colwell, Alves, I think all 4 of them have been excellent. But if you're rotating the squad, you've got Ashford probably due a game, Isaac Davis itching to play, Mate, El Ghazi, Willock. We've got a lot of wide attacking players. How do you get them all in? I just think creatively and aggressively as a team, we look better. We always look best creatively, I think, when Ruben's in the team. Get Ruben in the 10. I think there's a good start. But equally, Alex Robertson does an excellent job in the 10. And I can see why some people prefer him in the 10. My personal opinion is I'd rather have him and Ruben in there. I just don't think that... I think one day we might end up seeing those 2 as 8s and a single pivot. and probably now is not the time for that. But Mansfield is what a player he is. Far too good for the Championship. It'll be interesting what we do. Hull's a big game. You win that, and there's a bit of pressure eased. You lose that, and we're in deep poop, as it were. And that's the interesting thing about the Championship. Win a couple of games, and you look awesome. Lose a couple of games, and it all goes to pot. We're 3 points ahead of Plymouth, but we have a game in hand. Our game in hand is against Hull on Tuesday. They play Hull next week, Plymouth do. If we could beat Hull and then Hull beat Plymouth, that gives us a nice 6-point gap over Plymouth. If we beat Hull, it takes us above them as well. I wouldn't be shocked to see us bring in a free transfer. And I saw some speculation on social media that they should try and bring in a centre-back. I actually disagree. I think we've just got injuries there, unfortunately. I do wonder, and I know this is an unpopular one, I'm not really convinced by either keeper. I think Alnwick's been good in certain points, and I think Halworth has had a good couple of games in the FA Cup fairly recently, but neither one of them fills me with a lot of enthusiasm. I'm not really convinced by both. I wouldn't be shocked to see us bring a keeper in the summer, but I don't think we'd bring one in now. You've got Turner, you've got Halworth, and I think Halworth on his FA Cup form this year, he's probably not. There was some people calling for him to start the league games on the back of those positions. Sean Morrison, I've seen a few people suggest we should bring him in on loan, but I thought Rhys made an excellent point on the post-game show last night. Was with Morrison, I agree, having him around the changing rooms, and he's such a leader, but he's not nowhere near match fit. You take him, by the time you get him up to speed to play, the season will be over. And look, I know this is probably not a popular opinion with some, especially if you go on Twitter. There's a lot of people saying how we need an experienced manager, blah, 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 blah. I really feel like, slowly but surely, I think Omar Rhys is building something at the moment. And I think you can see it coming together. You can see it by that first half performance. You can see what he's trying to do. Now, you can agree or disagree that going 3 at the back and matching them up is the way to go. Some people will have different opinions. I understand why we did it. But I can see what Omar Rhys is trying to do. And if you look at our results, Leeds aside, there hasn't been many games where I think you can put it on the manager. There's been maybe 1 or 2 where you can say some of the players' attitude could be questioned. And then the rest of it's been conceding late goals to defensive lapses. The managers, the coaches, they can't play for the players. You can't allow for a sending off, which is not sending off. You can't allow for a player missing chances. You can't allow for a player just completely switching off and leaving his man running behind. It's one of them, isn't it? I do understand people's opinion, and they say you need an experienced manager. In my honest opinion, and again, I know some people won't like this because people want negativity and clickbait and anger and frustration and blah, blah, blah. Do I want new owners at Cardiff City? Yes, I do. Do I think that Cardiff City need a whole new football structure above the manager? Yes, I do. I think we're way behind the times and we need to evolve and adapt to get with the times. But I also believe that statistics can be manipulated to people's agenda. And what you'll see a lot of people saying is, oh, we've only won 3 games in whatever it is. But they don't include the draws. They don't include the context. And there's a lot of context to it. The team look more fluid. The team look together. We're in a relegation battle. You've got a manager who the players are behind. What do you think that would do if we suddenly were to sack him? Or you think those players are all going to dig in for a new manager? I would argue that you make a massive risk. Individual mistakes are not on the manager. And if you go back through our season this year, I would probably hazard a guess that 85 to 90% of the goals conceded via mistakes or the points we've lost via mistakes are not on the manager. There's 1 or 2, which I would argue you can put on the manager and the coaching staff. Bristol City in the first game, I thought we went defensive too early and it cost us, gave the impetus back to Bristol. There was another game similar not long after that. But I think you can see an improvement to the team. We're playing better football. The games are more enjoyable. You've got to remember, when Omar Rhys came in, we had 1 point and 1 goal. And it looked as if we had a squad of players who did not want to play for Cardiff City. We looked like we had a squad of players who didn't like each other, didn't like the fans, didn't like the club. So for him to unite the majority, get the club playing football the way they are, but also I hate talking about luck because I'm a firm believer in you shouldn't rely on luck and you make your own via hard work and quality. But we have been a very unlucky side in terms of the late goals, the send-ins off. We've had a few send-ins off which have just been and 2 big games, by the way, as well, in Coventry and Plymouth on Saturday. The send-ins off changed the games in a game that we're playing probably our best football of the season in some ways. So, and the other side of it is all fans think that their team is not far off and this and that, and they're better than they are. If you go through our squad individually, I think it's a pretty good squad. It's not May, it's not ready, it's not completely Omar Rhys' squad. So he's still got areas which aren't players that he would have in there, I'd hazard a guess. But let's have a look at some of the comments because it's really fascinating, the whole thing, because I see so much negativity. I saw some people saying yesterday on social media how Ruben was bad, Fish was terrible when he came on. I was like, he won header after header after header, Fish did yesterday. And it's bizarre to me. I feel like I've watched a different game sometimes. And I'm not really sure what people expect from Omar Rhys. Things take time. It's not an instant fix. We were so bad, we had 1 point and 1 goal. That's how bad we were. And he's by and large, with the same group of players, turned it around to a point where we're not rooted to the bottom of the table. And if we can win our home games, we probably stay up. Bizarre. But anyway, let's have a look at the comments. Graham, Martin, Rhys, Damien, who else? Matthew, Gavin, Rhys Lasky. Who else did I see in there? I think I saw Phil Jones, Jamie. Welcome. 20 minutes, half hour in. But no, evening. Martin says we switched your back 3 too soon. We started with a back 3 mid. Martin also says taking Colwell out with a 10 was a mistake. Alves never got a ball up to that, but they both kind of played in that sort of weird, hybrid 10 wide position, don't they? So you kind of drift out wide a bit more than you would in a traditional 10. We just didn't like that. Like Damien says there, agree with you. So it was good to see us switch on and not concede goals, and that was it. Like second half, we dug in and didn't switch off, didn't lose the game, and didn't concede stupid goals. Could we have done better for the goal? Yeah, probably. But the second ball, just one of them falls to him, and it's a good finish. Sometimes you're going to get that. The game changed after the sending off, like Graham says there. Game changed for me after we scored. We stopped playing a little bit, but I still think we had chances after we scored, mate. And you take them, and it's the game could be game over by half time, similar to the first game we played him at home. Martin says Ramsey was superb. Agree. And Manswork, yeah, I thought they were both very good. Rhys says Ruben needs to be in a 10. He's not a winger. And he's not an 8 for me. He can do those roles, though, because he's good, but he shows his best form at 10. I think long-term, he might end up being an 8. But at the moment, I think you get the best out of him in a 10. And I would like to see... Now we've got we've got a couple of really solid 6s in Manswork and Chambers. At some point, I would like to see Robertson in the 8 behind Ruben. But then you've got to drop Ramsey, so you've got to do it when you're timing it. And could Ramsey be a 6? Maybe for certain games. I think it's a risk. Let's have a look. Gavin says, we're going to miss Gutas Tuesday. Let's hope Chambers is fit to play centre-back. See, I'm less enthusiastic about that because I thought Chambers really struggled at centre-back. But it's needs must, isn't it? It's whoever's fit. I'd be shocked if we don't appeal it. I got to be honest. Martin says we need wide central defenders who are comfortable defending wide. We had that with NG and Bagan. Well, yeah, that's the when you've got the 3 at the back. Generally speaking, the central defender of the 3 will be the aggressor, the ball winner, the headerer, the one who engages, like the number 9, and then the 2 either side will be more ball playing centre backs who will get themselves out wide if teams get in behind your wing backs. So having a left footer and a right footer and 2 who predominantly play fullback is quite handy. But you've got to be switched on to keep the shape working. Martin says that he leaves us open to runners down from deep in the channels, and their manager spotted that. Yeah. Damien says, as long as your midfield helps out, the back 3 can be awesome, but getting back on closing shop and helping defend at the right time has to be important for that to work. That's the same as any system, mate, as well, isn't it? Like, everyone's got to do their bit. There was a point in the first half where Ramsey tracks the runner, and so many times this season I've seen us not track runners, switch off and pay for it, and Ramsey, just follows him all the way. Their wing back it was. He made like an inside run on the left first half, and he runs. And I think Ramsey won the goal kick as well. It's good. Jamie said it's the way they were allowed to build up for the equaliser. Just messing about with it twice. No press, but it could have been worse. Yeah, we were sitting in a bit by then. I said, I commented on Twitter just after we had the sending off, and I said, the worst thing we can do is sit back and invite pressure now with 10. We need to just try and be compact with 2 sort of banks. And then when we do get the ball, try and break with pace and get a goal on the break. Because if we just sit in and invite pressure and let them have the ball, we're gonna struggle. It's difficult, though, with 10 men. Because you've just got to keep that shape all the time to make yourself difficult to play through. Rhys says he prefers 4-2-3-1. I understand that, mate. I think you can see the logic to it. Martin thought NG was great. Yeah, I thought he had a good game, mate. Matty says, agree, side. We were very good first half. Like any game, football, sending off does change the game for me. But we showed the character to dig in and get a point. And that point could be massive. Absolutely massive. Martin says, definite foul on Bagan. Yeah, it was 100%. He just took him out. And how the referee misses it is beyond me. I thought the referee was pretty poor, actually. And I know the Plymouth fans got on him in the first half because he was giving stuff to us. But, like, he let so many bad challenges go, which were not like nasty challenges, but just challenges that look clearly fouls. Plymouth fans, Gavin says, Plymouth fans on their forum are tampering with our song choices and the time wasting. Yeah, there was definitely a bit of shithousery from Cardiff to make sure we got over the line. I don't mind a bit of that. We've had enough teams do it to us over the years. Got to do what you've got to do to get the points. Damien says, Ruben gets a lot of stick, but he's on another level. Watching him afterwards, you see other players are not on the same level as he is. He sometimes has no choice but to keep the hold of the ball. But he does too much sometimes. Yeah, he does. But I think the more he has runners off him, the more he releases it. I thought he linked up pretty well with Alves yesterday, considering they haven't played that close together a lot. Graham says, was it a red? As what I seen of it, I thought it was a free kick to us. They just both running for the ball and they just collided. They weren't even looking at each other, really. And the strikers obviously made a meal of it because he's through on goal, or like he's chasing the ball onto goal. Just thought it was a poor decision. Didn't even think it was a foul, to be honest. And you got a foul in the run-up. Martin says, referee Bell has officiated 3 City games. Penalty against Coventry, sending off against Plymouth. Yeah, he's don't want him many more, do we? Mine also says Colwell was bringing Alves into the game at every opportunity. Yeah, I thought it was good. Matthew says, brilliant seeing Isaac back on the pitch. Could be a real option for us in the running. Yeah, he could, mate. I mean, if we do end up playing the 3, you could end up with, like, so much pace going up and down the pitch. For certain games, I wouldn't be against playing Ashford as a right wing back because I think he's got the energy to get up and down and he does the defensive work. And if you had him and O'Dowda as your wing backs, and then you've got Alves, Isaac, Robertson, Colwell, El Ghazi, like there's so many options. We could do some serious damage with the pace and the creative options we've got. It's why I keep saying the best form of defense for us is attack, because defensively we have switched off at times, but attacking wise, I think we're getting better. And Isaac is a real option. I hope he gets a good half hour Tuesday. And who knows, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll give him 10 minutes on Tuesday and then they'll start him against Villa. Got to take your time with him because he's had a bad injury, but it's a big period for him as well with his contract running out. I hope we keep him. But I think he'll thrive. I really think Isaac Davis is one player who, if I had to bet who would thrive under Omar Rhys, Isaac Davis would be one of the players that I fully expect to thrive under him. And also, I think what people forget as well is Omar Rhys has got a real good reputation for working with young players. And you look at the Cardiff squad, and then you look at some of the players coming through. We got a lot of young players, like under 25s. We got loads. Salic, Tanner, Colwell, Alves, Robertson, Davis, Ashford. Who else? Like it's endless. Like you've got all these players, and it's just. You're not telling me that Omar Risa, who's got an exceptional reputation for working with youth players and young players, you've got Darren Pearce, who's brought a lot of those academy players through into the first team, or certainly had a big role in it. Richard Shaw is an experienced player who likes to work with young players. Like, it's all there ready if you give them time. But you've got to be patient. things don't happen overnight, especially with young players. Like, the future is exciting for Cardiff if we don't shoot ourselves in the foot. We'll see, mate. It'll be what it will be at the end of the day. And I dare say results will guide what happens. Damien says, agree there, Colwell and Alves are looking like a good pairing, popping the ball about like they played together their whole life, yeah. And I think Ruben struggled a little bit with no Tanner, so that was really encouraging to see. Martin says, has to be Chambers and Fish on Tuesday. Rhys Lasky says, to be honest, it was probably a red, don't you think? Stopping the goal scoring opportunity. That's the only kind of thing which I think goes into the thing of it being a red, is that he is through. But he hasn't got the ball. Like, it's a race for the ball, and they kind of just, legs get tangled up. I just don't think it was, I don't even think it was a foul. What I will say is it would be very clever of the manager or the football club to appeal Guta in like a tactical appeal, even if they don't go with it and, you know, rescind the red card. He's available for Tuesday, which then means Darlan's back for the next league game. It just makes sense that like tactical appeal, but whether we will or not is another thing I get. Paul says, I thought their foul on NG was close to a red card, 2-footed. The player's right foot was raised, caught NG, seen him given, but he got a yellow. It was a nasty one, mate. Martin says, don't want to criticise a player, but mate. Damien says, switching off, coming back is a major problem. Yeah, those mistakes at the back cost us points, mate, and hopefully they don't end up costing us our place in the championship. So yeah, Alex said about Reno, or Matthew says it's been confirmed that Bagan's out of the whole game. Pretty much, mate. I think is where it is. Excuse me, sorry. Martin said Reno was good on Saturday, but his distribution was exposed. Fair enough. Graham said it's possible NG and Bagan could be injured. Alex says we should have brought in more defenders in January. I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because I think at one point earlier in the season, I said we got too many. Like, because you don't want loads of defenders on the bench, really. You want to have creative options. Just want to have enough to cover fullback and centre back. But like, if everyone's fit, you've got plenty. It's just that we've got this insane defensive injury crisis. Martin says time for Dylan Lawler. Phil Jones said should be appealing the Guta sending off. The ref was close to the halfway line when he gave it, yet the tackle on NG was diabolical. The ref was right there and he flashed a yellow. Yeah, I think someone else said that ref is not a fan of Cardiff City, to say the least. Jonathan says it's hard to see how Plymouth's home record is so good, judging by how they played. When we had 11 players, they were awful. We should have buried them in the first half. Yeah, pay for those missed chances, mate. We did. Gutes wouldn't be a big miss against Villa or Burnley, where it would be difficult to get anything. We need him for the big game against Hull. 100% agree with that, mate. 100% agree with it. Jamie says it would have been curtains for Plymouth without the red card. I agree with that, mate. I agree with that completely. Damien says he agrees with Martin to get Dylan Lawler on a pitch. Martin says Alves is class, but it was Colwell who was supplying him. Agreed. Matthew says we let them get back into the game after we scored. We needed to keep our foot on the gas, get that second, and we should have finished them off. Graham says Chambers will probably come in the back four. That worries me, mate. That does really, really worries me. I'd rather see Fish and Gutas, if I'm honest, and put Chambers in midfield if needed. Paul says, story of our season side, not taking chances, but also giving other teams too much respect and letting them back into games. I think we do give teams too much respect sometimes. And I'd like to see us be a bit more aggressive and energetic and stuff, particularly at the start of games. Like Hull, Tuesday, I want to see us start like a house on fire. Aggressive, high press, energetic, movement off the ball, and just keep moving the ball quickly and keep recycling it. And just like Ramsey does it so well, just one touch, two touch, just moving teams around until one of the attacking players makes that run. And then you find them with the third man run. And it's beautiful. Beautiful to watch. Ramsey does it so well. John says, Lola looks good enough, but surely he needs some experience there to help him. Who will we have? Well, I think Gutas will be there, but Dylan Lawler's got a knock, is my understanding. So I think it's a moot point. A few people talking about Raheem Conte. Yeah, it's difficult. Martin says Robertson is not a 10. He's a fantastic 8, but not a 10. I think he's done a good job at 10, mate. I think it's just, I'm same as you. I would prefer to have him as an 8. So, and then Ruben in front of him. I think that works really good. Paul says Rhys has said he's leaving an opening in case they need to bring an emergency loan, so he won't register Conte as the 25th player. Yeah, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Jamie says, are we going to get more than 8 points with the remaining fixtures? Should we have a little look at the fixtures before I finish up? Let's have a little look. Got to guess them out your home games ultimately, haven't you? So we got Hull Tuesday. I think we're capable of winning that. Villa in the Cup is going to be tricky. I expect us to rotate massively for that. You know, I think El Ghazi will start. Wouldn't be surprised to see Isaac start. Giles, people like this, which is good. Good experience for some of them and good minutes for some of the others. And then we're into March. So we got Burnley. Look, Burnley at home is going to be tough. However, they are not unbeatable. In that game against them, where they beat us 4-0, we were on top for 20 minutes or whatever, and we looked really good. And then I think it was Howard, that's one go under his foot, and then we just fell apart. And Burnley just took, I think they only had like 5 or 6 chances in the whole game, and they took 4 of them. They were clinical, which is what we've got to be. Sunderland away is tough, but Sunderland have shown over the weekend they're very beatable if you're at it. And I do think we've got enough in the attacking areas now, and we've got enough pace that we can trouble anyone on our day if we're at it. So let's say we don't get anything from Burnley. Let's say we beat Hull, get a point away at Sunderland, beat Luton at home. That's 7 points. Blackburn away, take a point there. 8. Sheffield Wednesday at home. You've got to win your home games. There's plenty of beatable, winnable games. You've got to play Oxford. You've got to play Stoke. You've got to play Preston. Norwich. What we don't want to do is go into those last 4 games against Sheffield United, Oxford, West Brom and Norwich needing like a lot of wins. But I am a believer that if we have a good March now, we can really cement our place in the Championship. You've got 2 very tough games, Burnley and Sunderland, and then I think there's 3 games which are winnable. But again, it's mentality, isn't it? Let's have a look. I said it all season, I don't think we go down. I still don't think we go down. And I'm more and more positive about the manager as we've gone on, because I feel like I can see what he's trying to build now. Isaac Davis is lightning. Rhys says, I wouldn't condemn us just yet, for reason for optimism. Jonathan says, season far from over yet. The Robin's doing his best to bring Stoke into the battle. Yeah. Swansea are not out of it. That win did them a favour on the weekend, mind. Raphael says, Hull is a huge game now. Next 2 games after that are Burnley and Sunderland. So we need to get 3 Tuesday. Yeah, it's massive Tuesday. It's our game in hand over Plymouth as well. So if we can get that victory, it gives us a bit of a cushion over Hull. 3 points over Hull. But it also gives us a 6-point cushion over Plymouth. So like a win Tuesday gives us some breathing room. Got to do it. Got to do it. I want to see a race between Alves and Davis. Yeah. Guys, I appreciate you all. It's a pleasure as always. Please do, if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed. It's free. It helps us out a lot. Click the bell for notifications, all that good stuff. If you're not a member, please, if you can, become a member. That's what allows us to produce content 7 days a week. Tomorrow, Cardiff City phone-in. We'll also have the player ratings out tomorrow, among other things. Got the radio show Wednesday and a bunch of other content. I'm at the we're all at the game on Tuesday, so I don't know what I'll be at on Tuesday. We'll find something though. We'll find something. There'll be a preview out as well, so might actually have 3 bits of content out tomorrow because you'll have the player ratings from Saturday, the preview for Tuesday, and the Cardiff City phone-in for the live content. Like, what other channel is giving you that? All things Cardiff City. Please do spread the word. We're nearly up to that 1,000 subscriber mark. We do our best to give you as much content as possible and as much conversation as possible. I had some incredible guests on those Wednesday night shows as well already. It's always a pleasure. I love the breakdown shows on a Sunday evening. You take care, my friends, and I'll see you soon.